the tactical aspects of politics and telling young people to get into it can be a good tool. It's been a good tool for me because it was a vehicle for me in the 1970s to speak out. I had been reading and studying, and I had a decent understanding of Austrian economics in the 60s, and I knew there was something amiss. And I read all the predictions, and even had read about Henry Hazlitt's prediction that the Bretton Woods wouldn't work, and he wrote that in the 1940s. And sure enough, on August 15th, 1971, it didn't work, and that sort of tipped me off. And I thought, hey, I need to talk about this stuff. I mean, this looks like it's very dangerous. So I remember, though, this was compounded the next day after August 15th. That was a Sunday, August 16th. The stock market went up record high in one day, in spite of 10% import taxes, closing the gold window, and wage and price controls, and the Chamber of Commerce loved it, and Wall Street loved it. Of course, the decade of the 70s did not like it. I thought it was ushering in a new age, and that this new age would bring us devastation and eventually destroy the dollar. And I wanted to talk about the business cycle and how the connection between the ability of governments to print money and then destroy our liberties, run up the welfare state and the warfare state, because that's why money is so important. But one thing I think is that came up this year, and I marked the date down in my head now. I don't have to look at a piece of paper. And that is November 2nd. So far, I don't think anybody else cares about November 2nd. But it may well be, although it wasn't a precipitous date to me today, to me it was an announced date of something very important. That was the day that after several days of sales by the IMF, that the government or the Central Bank of India bought 200 tons of gold. A lot of gold. That'd be a lot for anybody in this room, I guess. It was significant in that the central banks were announcing it. It was a real boost to the price of gold, or the more further depreciation of the dollar. In a way, I think that to me symbolizes maybe the beginning of the reversal of the trend away from what happened on August 15th, where gold was demonetized. And Greenspan told me one time, when I would press him on this issue, he says, yes, I understand that, I used to believe that, but he essentially said he believed that central bankers have now become smart enough to make fiat money work as if it were gold. So I don't think he was that smart. And I also remember asking him, and it was a decade ago, when it was a concerted effort by all central banks to do what they always do, and that is artificially keep the price of dollars, the gold down, and artificially keep the value of a dollar up. So they have been doing that. But when I asked him about England, he said, and I indicated that doesn't sound like a very smart idea. And the gold at that time was, I think, nearly $300 or just over $300. He says, no. He says they know exactly what they're doing. Like, they're a lot smarter than you are, was his attitude. But I think Brown might have been their Secretary of the Treasury at the time, and well, they rewarded him. They made him Prime Minister. So, but I think that the economic laws are stronger than all the other laws that government try to revoke. They can mess around with the price of gold. They kept the price of dollar, the ratio of the dollar to gold at $35 an ounce for a long, long time. Even if we did give away 500 million ounces of gold. But, eventually that broke down, and it becomes erratic at times. But overall, economic laws are very powerful, and economic laws eventually will bring our system down. We just can't get away with this. If we can get away with what we're doing now, means that none of us ever have to work again. We shouldn't have to work. We just get the government to crank out the money and send it over to China, and they'll do all our work for us, and we'd all be okay. It won't work, and it becomes obvious when you look at it in the extreme, but we're still pursuing that. So the end is coming, but the end of the system that is coming right now is also the beginning of the real growth of the freedom movement. And that is why I'm delighted to come here and join Ernie and all of you to talk about the freedom movement, because we have gotten a big shot in the arm. And not only have we gotten a shot in the arm in the last couple years, but the need for this message is growing and growing. We have a fertile field out there. Unfortunately, we still have enough freedoms where we can meet like this. And just think, we still have a free enough country that an individual like myself can be elected to Congress. So there are some freedoms still left, even though if you wanted to list all the ones that we have lost, it gets pretty scary at times. So we have to make quick use of those freedoms that we have, the freedoms to spread ideas and the freedom to organize and the freedom to change this country. And how you do it is up to you. I get that question so much. What should I do? Do whatever you want to do. You might want to run for office. You might want to work for a newspaper, be on TV. You might want to be a teacher. There's a lot of different things to do. But the most important thing is to be well informed, understand it, be able to argue our case that if we really care about our fellow man, ourselves, our families, and our friends, and our neighbors, and our country, then what we will do is work hard to promote the causes of liberty. Thank you very much.
Yeah.